Hey everybody, this is Steven from Pop Culture Maven. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews, which is almost next week at this point. It's been another crazy week. So basically what has kind of happened is the 9 to 5, the regular job, they laid off some people in our department. So now we have to take up the slack with now less people. So that is kind of cutting into my time for doing stuff during the week, and then on the weekends I'm just trying to recuperate with everything. So I'm trying to do the best I can. Just bear with me, and hopefully we'll get everything kind of figured out. And but we'll still be doing reviews. Just hopefully I'll try to get them the week the book's actually coming out. So sorry we're a little late again, but hey, and it was actually kind of a small week, but some really good books that came out this week. So let's get going. First up, G.I. Joe #1, written by Joshua Williamson, with artwork by Tom Riley. So the new G.I. Joe series takes place post the Duke miniseries and the Cobra Commander miniseries, which it would help if you had read those to lead up to that, but I think you can just read this by itself. Now, you're not going to know why, say the Baroness is with the G.I. Joe team unless you've read the Duke miniseries, and you won't understand why Cobra Commander's with, Destro and all those, characters, and how that all came together. So it would be wise to have read those two miniseries before that. Now, Scarlet has not shown up yet, or she doesn't show up in this first issue. So the team right now is Duke, Rock and Roll, Stalker, CoverGirl, Clutch, and Baroness. So basically they're kind of, they're trying to put the team, Duke's trying to get the team together. Cobra has now, because within the Cobra Command miniseries, he gets a hold of Energon, so he's able to, create laser beam guns. So, really this first issue is kind of setting up the everything coming together, including the Transformers, because there's obviously that was alluded to in both of the miniseries, and it encompasses the whole Energon universe. This is the same, Williamson and Riley are the same team that did Duke, and there's definitely a lot of similarities to that. So I really did enjoy that miniseries, and I think the book's off to a really good start. Like I said, you can come in fairly okay if you haven't read those, but like I said, it would be wise. I really like Riley's artwork. It fits the book really well. Kind of has a classic comic book style, and it really fits the story. And I think now they're just expanding those stories that they started in those two miniseries, and then kind of bringing it together. And I think it'll be interesting because I'm sure at some point Scarlet's going to show up, because that miniseries just ended. So. But I think it's worth checking out, and I'm not necessarily a big G.I. Joe fan, but I have enjoyed the Energon Universe books, so I think it's worth checking out this week. Next up, we have Absolute Batman #2, written by Scott Snyder, with artwork by Nick Dragotta. This takes place right after the first issue. So, the party gang has, basically infested Gotham, and, Bruce is, he's Batman, but he's a very different Batman. He's not rich, and, he doesn't have, all the things that go with it. He's pretty much by himself. And Alfred's actually kind of like a somewhat British Secret Service agent for this mysterious group, not for the government, and he's been keeping tabs on Bruce because they're interested in Gotham. And so a lot of things happen in that first issue. Hopefully you read it. There's a few spoilers here. Martha Wayne is still alive. Thomas Wayne has passed away. So we kind of have flashbacks of Bruce, trying to come to terms with his dad dying, because he was young when he passed away. And so, that kind of led him in. So we're starting to see how Bruce kind of became Batman slowly, but also kind of telling the current storyline with the party animals. And the Batmobile is introduced. If you thought Batman was huge, the Batmobile's even more huge than you could ever imagine. Apparently, Snyder and Dragata's mantra for this is bigger is better. If it's bigger, it's got to be better. So if it's only big, make it bigger so it can even be better. Like everything that they're doing in this book, it's just big. But I also like the way that they're changing the characters. They're not... First of all, they're really smart, not trying to reinvent the wheel here, just telling the same story in a different way. Martha's alive. Commissioner Gordon's the mayor, and things like that. And so I will not spoil it, but we do get to see one of the rogues, classic rogues, show up at the end of this first issue, or the second issue, sorry. And it definitely, there's going to be more coming. Snyder has talked about that, they will be introducing more rogues into the book, just different takes on them. Once again, the story's really good. I like how it really built nicely on the first issue. Dragata's artwork is really, really spectacular. This is a great looking book. It's a really good story, and I'm really digging the Absolute books. Like I said, Wonder Woman is really my favorite right now, but Batman is definitely a real close second on this. So definitely continue. Well worth checking out. I know the second issue's already sold out, so check they're already doing second, third printings of the first issue. So they're going to keep printing them until demand has caught up with it, but it's still well worth checking out. Next up, we have Black Hammer Spiral City #1, written by Jeff Lemire with artwork by Teddy Christensen. So now this takes place after the Black Hammer The End story that came out recently. And so what happened what basically happened in that, the anti-god came back, and tried to destroy, the Earth, and all the heroes from the different multiverses came together to, defeat the anti-god. So now, so there's a kind of a sentiment with the humans, and, they kind of blame the superheroes for all the problems that has happened. So the part of the city that was Spiral City that was demolished, they've now turned it into Supertown, and they basically made all the superheroes go there. They're living in just like ruins of a city. And so there's kind of that, and then the Spiral City Asylum, where basically the villains, they Trident is kind of running the city now. It's kind of like the militant police, and they've closed down the asylum and they've kicked everybody into Supertown. But there's something in Supertown that's going on we don't know. But it's really an interesting story. And then there's the detective, Bug, that was in the miniseries. He's been in the Black Hammer universe, and he's like trying to do detective work, and everybody's like, "You're Bug, get out of here, go to Supertown." So now, let's put it this way. There's a murder mystery, and there's a mystery going on that he will ultimately try to solve. So it's really interesting. I'm a big fan of Lemire's, and of course Black Hammer I really love. I'm really excited about the artwork. Teddy Christensen, I'm really a big fan of his. He's done a lot of work over the years. A lot of indie books. Probably his biggest thing he might be known for, he did, there was a revival of House of Mystery that he drew most of the issues, and he's really a wonderful artist, and it's really nice to see him, and I think he's a perfect artist for this particular story, and that's what I've always loved about Lemire's choosing the artist for the Black Hammer book. He really, the story he writes, he kind of has an idea of who would be a really good artist for it. And Christensen is absolutely perfect. This is a really great looking book. well worth picking up. And I think if you haven't read Black Hammer, which, you know, is a shame, but I think you can run into the story because he does, Lemire does give you like enough kind of what happened to where this story is taking place. So it's pretty fairly decently new reader friendly. So well worth checking out. I really enjoyed it. Next up, we have Batman Dark Age #6, written by Mark Russell, with artwork by Michael Allred. So now this finishes off the miniseries, and so what this is Pariah has basically decimated Wayne Enterprise, but Lucius Fox, in his little department that they never paid attention to, he's able to kind of rebuild Wayne Enterprise. And so Bruce decides to retire. He marries Selena, and they, you know, they're having a nice life. And then Pariah warns the Justice League, hey, Brainiac's coming. He's going to destroy the Earth. I've seen it happen. There's nothing you can do. And so basically what I will say is that this definitely ties in, and it's not so much a sequel, but it definitely takes place in the Superman space age that Russell and Allred did. And they definitely blend together at the end, shall we say. I really enjoyed this. It was really a different look of, you know, once again, it's kind of like, you know, Absolute Batman. It's just kind of a different take on the Batman mythology, but, you know, very much, you know, with Mark Russell, with his great social commentary in there and stuff like that. And kind of, you know, like the Joker is not quite the Joker, and it's really interesting. And then, of course, the whole thing is kind of told from Bruce being an old man. He's kind of telling this story, and it's just really interesting. I really like what he did. I'm a huge fan of Allred's artwork. And he has said that there are plans for him and Allred to do a Wonder Woman series that kind of matches these two books. So that'd really be great, because then that would get DC's Holy Trinity, you know, all three books together. That would be really nice. This was really fantastic. I know that it's going to be collected in a hardcover, and it's definitely well worth checking out. Those two have really knocked it out of the park. I mean, I love Superman Space Age, and I love Batman Dark Age, and it will really be interesting to see what they do when they're able to get around to do Wonder Woman. If fingers crossed that happens. Next up, we have Helen of Wyndham #6, written by Tom King, with artwork by Bilquis Evely. So now this finishes off the story, and basically what it is Lilith, who is Helen's nanny, has been basically telling this story to this young reporter or blogger. And so what this final story is that Helen and her grandfather go on kind of a final journey. They find her grandmother, the grandfather's wife, and she also gets to see her mother that she never knew, because her dad, she never got to meet her mother, and her dad never really talked about her. So a lot of it is really not so much the final story. It's more about Helen's relationship with her grandfather, and how, you know, he's come to understand her and love her, you know, basically. And also he's able to tell her about her parents. And it's very kind of interesting how even though there's kind of this journey big journey at the end of this issue, it's more really about them coming together and having a real relationship. That's really kind of what this story is about, is Helen finding herself. And that has been really interesting. I mean, of course, you know, I love Tom King, and Evely's artwork is just stunning in this book. It's really a gorgeous looking book. And I like how it just, it had kind of it ended. It was like the ending of a fairy tale. That's really kind of the best way to sum it all up. It all came together, but it just was very, wasn't a big splashing ending. It was just like, this is the end of the story, the end. And I really liked that. I thought that was really smart take, because in a lot of ways this was kind of a fairy tale version of somewhat Conan the Barbarian, and that's kind of a bit of an elevator pitch for it. But I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely well worth picking up, and I know they're going to do a collection of this, so pick that up when it comes out. Next up, we have Black Lightning #1, written by Brandon Thomas, with artwork by Fico Ossio. So this takes place after Absolute Power, and Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, he's kind of in charge of the Justice League Metahuman Outreach initiative, and that's where out of Absolute Power there are going to be new heroes that come, the people that gain powers, and what it is Black Lightning, along with his daughter, they go and find these new superheroes and try to help them teach them their powers. And hopefully maybe they won't become supervillains. And that's kind of the basic story that's set up here. And then of course the first adventure, they go and they find somebody, and their powers go crazy, and they have to try to help contain them. And it was a nice story. It didn't necessarily blow me away or anything. I think it was fairly new reader friendly in the sense of it kind of did, you got to know a little bit about it, but like I said, a lot of this stuff coming out of Absolute Power, if you haven't read it, I think you're going to be a little tough, but not fatal. I just found it it was decent. The artwork, Ossio's artwork is nice. It gets the job done, and Thomas's script is fine. I think this is one of those things, we'll kind of see where the second issue goes. It's a nice first issue, but it didn't overwhelm me. But, I like Black Lightning as a character. We'll kind of see, where they take it, from here. So that's, I think, going to be a bit of a key to see where this book goes with the second issue. I liked it, just didn't quite love the first issue, but was intrigued enough to see where it goes. Next up, we have Transformers #14. Written by Daniel Warren Johnson, with artwork by Jason Howard. So now this is the second, finishes the two-part story of Starscream, and how, what his fate is, post the big, storyline in issue 12. So this two-part story kind of goes behind the curtain and tells what has happened to Starscream. He kind of lost his legs. Oops. And how he ends up with some humans, and they make him into a tank for his legs. And he's kind of now he's getting the Decepticons ready, because now they're gonna band together and try to take over the Earth. So that's really what this two-part thing is, kind of not so much Starscream's origin or anything, but what has happened post issue 12, going forward after into issue 15. So Jason Howard was just doing these issues. George Crone is coming back for issue 15. But it was nice to see Howard's, I think he did a really nice job in the artwork, and it was really nice to have it's kind of a little mini series within the series. That's kind of the way, I look at it, being like this standalone story about Starscream, but it does take place in the continuity that Daniel Warren Johnson's doing on the book. And I like that. I thought it was really neat to kind of have, a bit of a solo story instead of doing a separate miniseries, plus it gave George Corona, a little bit of breathing room to so he can come back and do the book on a, hopefully a regular basis. But I did like Howard's artwork. I think he was, he fits in really, really well. And, I'm really loving what Daniel is doing with the book. So still well worth picking up. And finally, we have Ultimate X-Men #9, written and drawn by Peach Momoko. Now, this issue is pretty much Maystorm and Surge confrontation. But we're also kind of, like people are, there's the, they're learning about the Children of the Atom cult. And so kind of like it's like the anti-mutant, people are kind of scared of these kids that have powers and stuff. So that's kind of going on in the underneath. And really this issue is really, like I said, the confrontation between Maystorm and Surge. And we also kind of learned that Surge is a child of the Atom, but not in the way that you would think. So that kind of brings up an interesting dichotomy to that. Plus we also it appears that possibly we find the patient zero mutant that they're making these kids from, and it might be a certain very short Canadian bub, but we don't know. It just visually looked like him. So we will see. But I really liked what Momoko's doing with this book. It's definitely a slow burn, but I think it's really, really spectacular, and it's really just such a unique and different take on, kind of superheroes in general, and that's what I really love about it. It's really, like throwing out like the what you're supposed to do and just doing whatever she wants, and that's what I love about this book. And her artwork is absolutely amazing. It's just gorgeous book. Really great story. I'm really digging it, and I love every issue. That's going to do it this week. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics, Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner, the owner, runs a great store. There's Annie, Wendy, Derek runs their socials. If you're in the Southern California area and in specifically the Long Beach area, definitely stop by and check it out. It's a really good comic shop. They offer discounts on trades and graphic novels every day. If you live in the area, they do pull service, so you make sure you don't miss any books, and you get a discount if you order so many books per month. And it's just, they have a great manga selection. They have a great all ages section. It's really a good, solid comic shop. Definitely well worth checking out. Check their website and check their socials. For, sometimes he has sales on stuff. He's had a lot of signings. He's not going to have any signings probably until after the first of the year. But definitely check out their socials to find out what's going on in the store. And as always, we end our show with be kind to each other, and be kind to yourself. I know the things in the world are really tough. It seems like it's just bad news never ends, but we got to stay positive, and we have to be kind to each other. No matter our differences and stuff. And I know that that's kind of a simple way. But I'm talking about just on a human level, of just being kind, opening the door for somebody, saying hi, acknowledging existence. Even, if you're walking down the street and you see somebody, just make eye contact, just smile at somebody. It makes a world of difference. It really does. And the other thing is to really take care of yourself. Like I said, mentally, it's really tough right now for a lot of us, for all of us, I think. But being kind to yourself, and just taking things in slowly, that is really important right now. So be kind to yourself and be kind to others. That's going to do it. Hopefully we'll get back on track next week. I know I keep promising that, and it's really tough, folks. But I hope you're all doing well out there. Take care of yourselves. We've got a lot of new subscribers, and just be kind to yourself and be kind to others. This is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com signing off. We'll see you again next week or the next video. And take care of yourselves. All right. Bye-bye.